Hi friends, I'm Sherry and this is Gardening in the North, and this is our third update video on this property. So a year ago this month, we bought this property in the hopes of building our forever home, a home that we could grow into our senior years and be able to stay living here, continue gardening, and just have everything that we've really ever wanted simplified. And so we have done a lot of work here. I know that some of you have seen the first and second update videos where I walked you around, showed you what the property looked like. We have prepped some of the garden space. We removed some of the wood material off of the existing structure that was here. We also removed all of the metal roofing material that was on the structure as well. And we use that to build our new garden beds. And so I'm really excited today to walk you around this property 1 year after I walked you around it last year. I also want to show you a few clips of actually removing the structure that was here because it's really cool. And then we're going to do the walk around and end in my favorite place. So my husband and my boys and I have been working really hard to get the garden space ready for this year. And so I want to walk you around that garden space and tell you why we did some of the things that we did, some of the things that we're going to do in the future, and why we're not doing everything this year. Let's take a walk. I'm walking up right now is the exact same driveway that was here when we purchased. So we didn't change that at all, but we did build this house. And so the structure of this house is built out of ICF, and we went right up to the main floor. It is a bungalow. We also built my husband his forever garage, and so he is a woodworker and he is so excited to get all of his equipment in there and to start building. And so I am just going to walk beside it. I just want to show you the space that we have on the other side of the garage here. It is a bit windy. I hope that you can hear me okay. So this space here is going to be where we're going to most likely park our trailers. It'll be extra parking alongside the garage here. And so I'm just going to walk behind the garage because this is where we're going to put the chicken coop. And so it is going to be in that sunny area there that you can see. We want to make sure that the chickens have sun. We don't want them to be in the shade the whole time because then their coop and their run are going to be quite moist and stinky, and that's not what we want. And so you can see all of this gravel here. This is a temporary driveway that was put in, and so we do not want this driveway because the driveway actually will lead to where our septic bed is going to be, and so we definitely want to close off that area. And so right where all that gravel is where we're going to put the chicken coop, and it is going to be a fairly large one, large for us, so it's going to be 10 by 12, I believe. And then into that area over there is where the run is going to be. And so we thought that putting the chicken coop and run at the back of the garage and in place of that driveway that has been put there would provide us a little bit more privacy, because you can see through the trees, and there is, you know, some need for a little bit more privacy there. And so if I just span over this way, we're now on the other side of the garage. And so of course my husband wanted to have a door to ride out on the mower or the lawn tractor either way, so through that door or the main door. That room up there on the side of the house, we're calling that the mud room. And so what that's going to be is the room where the dogs enter the house. For those of you that have dogs, you know that they can make a mess. And so we are calling that our mud room, and that leads into the laundry room. So at the back of the house, we have that gazebo. We're going to put the barbecue under there and some seating area for when we have guests over. And then all this space here that you see that looks fairly flat is hopefully where our potential pool will be. For those of you that know or that are familiar with my channel, you know that we have a pool at our current house, which we all love using in the summertime. We can't put a pool in this year because all of this ground needs to really settle down before we start adding anything like that. And so along the back there, you'll see that we've cut out a lot of the dirt. And so we are going to have to put some kind of retaining wall there. Now, up behind there, I'm not sure if you can see it because I am pretty far away right now, but that is where my garden is. And so we are going to head up there next. I just wanted to pan around and show you the height of some of these dirt piles. This is all the topsoil that needs to be laid down. I'm not sure exactly when. I think it's probably going to be done over the next month. Fingers crossed, just so that we can kind of see a bit more of the property there. All right, let's head up to the back. So let's talk about what's been going on here in the garden. So you can see that you can still see a bit of that landscaping cloth. We still need to drop a few trailer loads of wood chips over in this area. This area here is where we're going to be doing our perennial beds, and so that will be asparagus, strawberries, I might do some perennial lettuces and kale. Over here are the brand new garden boxes that we built. So the wood is recycled barn material, same as the ones that we have at home currently, but the tin that are on these ones are from that structure that was here originally. And so we wanted to make sure that we used it. We didn't want to dispose of it. And I think they turned out pretty fabulous. We have enough to make a few more. I shouldn't say a few more. We probably have enough to make around 10 more. And so we are going to be doing that. So this weekend, we leveled all of the boxes. We wanted to make sure that they were leveled so that wherever you are on the property, they actually look nice. Before we leveled them, they were all really wonky looking. And so then we added in all of our cattle panels to the ones that are here. I just want to take a quick minute to talk about the garden plan and why I only have 8 boxes. For those of you that know me personally or have been following along with this garden journey at my current home, you know that I have way more garden space than these 8 boxes. So I have 8 boxes here. 6 of them are 3 by 8, 2 feet tall. The other 2 are 4 by 8, 2 feet tall. And the garden plan that I have drawn out has double the amount of beds here. If not, I think I have 20 beds in the plan. And so when we bought this property, you know, I was like 100% steam forward on what I wanted the space to look like. We have to do it, and we have to do it now. And basically burned myself out and had to take a mental health break from everything. And so I had to reevaluate what I wanted, what I needed, and how I was going to get there. And so one of the things that I've decided is I have 8 boxes here, and that's all I have. And so I'm going to garden in these 8 boxes, and I am going to grow food for my family, and I may not be able to put as much food into the freezer as I did last year, but that's okay. I'm going to use what we have, and I'm not going to stress my family out on wanting to build more boxes for growing in this summer. We will build a couple more this summer, but my plan is to build a couple boxes every year for the next few years. The garden space that I have at my current home was not created overnight. That took me years to get to that gardening size that I have. And so I have to take a reality check and tell myself that time-wise and financially, building 20 plus boxes like that is not going to happen. So what am I going to do with these 8 boxes? Well, I like to grow a lot of tomatoes. I have 24 varieties of tomatoes this year. And my plan was to bring 2 plants for every variety that I'm growing right now to this new garden. When we got here and we started setting up these boxes this weekend, I quickly realized that they are too tall for tomatoes. They're too tall for tomatoes for my 5'4" height. And so you got to use what you have. And I've decided that I'm going to grow tomatoes in these boxes this year, because if I don't use these boxes, I don't get to grow tomatoes this year. And so I'm going to grow them in these boxes. And, you know, where I'm putting the trellises for the tomatoes is going to make the boxes a bit awkward getting in and out of. I'm going to need to use a step ladder to harvest my tomatoes, but that's okay. So what we've done is we've installed the T-posts on the outside of the boxes, because I know that I'm going to have to remove them next year and put them on the lower boxes. That's okay. I am going to plant my tomato seedlings into these beds when it's time. And I'm going to wait until they grow a little bit, and then I'm going to add the trellis that I have to the T-posts, so that it's a lot easier for me to get into these boxes and plant without having that trellis system there. And we all know that the tomato plants don't use the trellis system for a few weeks anyways. So let's talk about how I'm filling these boxes. Oh, actually, I want to go back and talk about one more thing about the tomato plants. So the other thing that I'm doing differently with my tomato plants this year, because I quickly realized that I don't have enough space on my tomato trellises for 48 plants. And so I'm going to use some of these arch trellises that you see. I've decided to try it. Are they going to grow? Is it going to be kind of cool having tomatoes grow on an arch trellis? I don't know. I don't even know if it'll work, but we're going to try it this year. And so come back for my garden tours to see the update on the tomato arch trellis. I'm going to call it experiment. Okay, so now let's talk about how I'm filling these boxes. So this weekend, after we leveled them, I went around the property and started collecting up wood, cut off wood, branches, logs, whatever I could find that I knew was safe to put into these boxes. We had some bales of straw, and so those have gone in as well. After that was done, we added wood chips, free wood chips. So my municipality provides us with free wood chips as much as you want, whenever you want them. And so I am taking huge advantage of that and filling my boxes with them. All of that compost that you saw over at the beginning of the garden, I'm going to be filling the rest of the boxes with that today. And so I know it's not going to fill the boxes completely. I know that I'm going to have to buy some really nice rich soil to put a thin layer on top, but that's all I'm doing. That compost has been sitting there for a year and it is so nice inside. I've been digging through it looking to see what it looks like, and it is ready. And so I'm super excited. I know next year that these beds are going to need more soil, and that's fine. They are going to start compressing as everything starts decomposing inside them. The wood starts breaking down. Everything will drop, and I'll have to put more, but that's okay. So let's do a bit of a property span from up here in the garden space. You are not going to believe how high up this garden space is from the actual house space. So let's take a look. All right, going from north to south on our property. So there again is the garage. You'll notice that the windows on the garage are fairly high. My husband did that on purpose because he wanted to be able to use the wall space in there. And so he still wanted sunlight, but he wanted the wall space as well. And so this is the back of our home. Again, I'm not sure if I mentioned that it is a bungalow. And so the reason that we built the bungalow is we really do want this house to be the house that we grow into, that we grow old in. And so we don't want to have to do stairs besides getting into the house and out of the house. Those are really the only stairs that we want. And so one of the spaces on this house that I am most excited about is this space right here. So that is what we are calling our sunroom. And so I've done a few videos in our current home and we call it a screen room. So we didn't put windows on it. We just put screens in those openings. And so in this house, we really do want to put windows. And the reason for that is the screen room, sunroom, whatever you want to call it, really is the room that everyone in our family rotates to. Now the problem with that is when it rains, you get wet. And so we have decided to put windows in there so that no matter what the weather is, we can use it. And so I'm just going to span across here. So this area here where you can still see a bit of the white is the pond. It still has some ice and snow in there. I mean, we just had a snowstorm last week and I'm out here now gardening. Canadian weather is very crazy. And so I'm just gonna back up a bit here. These big piles of dirt here. So this used to be a hill going down and it was filled with sumacs. And so one of the things that we did were rip some of them out, and then we started putting some of our fill from the property in there and leveled it off with the garden space. And so now we still have these two big piles of dirt here. We still need to level them out a bit, but that is going to add significant space to this property. We're going to put our bees over there on the edge of the property, as well as a nice fire pit. We want to have a fire pit close to the pond so that we can skate on it in the summertime or in the wintertime and not go very far for fire and have s'mores. And so this is it. Okay, guys, I need to get to work. I have been spending time with you, drinking coffee, and there is work to be done still. I need to fill these boxes with all of that compost. So I'm going to go grab all my buckets and my wagon and get to work. Thanks for spending time with me.